Imagine pouring a decade of your life into one of the greatest games ever made. The kind of game that people still talk about years later. Not because of marketing, not because of a franchise deal, but because it was genuinely fantastic. Now imagine the studio you built makes a follow-up. Same team, same engine, same ocean, and somehow, it just isn't the same. That happened. Subnautica is one of the greatest games ever made. Below Zero is not. And the reason it isn't has nothing to do with the corporate drama Unknown Worlds is dealing with right now. Crafton, lawsuits, fired founders, and all that comes later. Below Zero was Unknown Worlds' own creative decisions. Their hands. Their wheel. Subnautica 2 launches into early access very soon. So today, we're going to talk about what made the first game a masterpiece, where the follow-up lost the plot, and whether the team that just got their studio back in court can pull off a comeback with Subnautica 2. Spoilers ahead, by the way. Let me tell you what Subnautica actually is, because I don't think most people can articulate it properly. They say it's a survival game, it most definitely is. They say it's beautiful, it most definitely is. They say it's scary, and all of that is technically true, and it completely misses the point. Subnautica is a game built entirely around one psychological mechanism: discovery. Not reward loops, not battle passes, not seasonal content, discovery. The kind that only happens when a developer trusts you enough to throw you into a giant fucking alien ocean with nothing but a broken escape pod and zero explanation. Barely any compass markers, no quest tracker, no hand holding you through the experience. Just a vast alien ocean and depth. And the creeping awareness that you have absolutely no idea what is underneath you or what the hell you're even supposed to do. And that's where it gets you. Because Subnautica doesn't tell you what to fear. It lets you find it. You're cruising through the safe shallows thinking you understand this world, and then you go a little deeper, and the color drains out of the water, and the music changes, and suddenly you are in the crash zone, and there's something out there in the dark that is bigger than anything you've ever seen. And it doesn't spawn because you triggered a cutscene. You swam there. You made that choice. That sense of discovery is only paralleled by a few games. It is what has made Skyrim so popular even 15 years later. And that's what makes Crimson Desert in recent days so beloved for its audience. That is what most developers cannot do. And most won't even try, especially not Ubisoft, where every single game they make is the same formulaic, generic open world anyways, because it requires restraint. It requires trusting the player. It requires building a world so coherent and so alive that the player's imagination does the heavy lifting. Unknown Worlds built that world, and they did it without a massive budget. It cost a team of 25 an estimated $10 million to launch their 1.0. They did it. Without a franchise IP, without a corporation breathing down their neck, they built it because they understood something fundamental about what games are supposed to do to you. They are supposed to make you feel something real. The Reaper Leviathan is one of the most terrifying creatures ever put in a video game. You know what makes it terrifying? You hear it before you see it. All the creatures are like that in the game, but that's the whole design philosophy in one creature. Sound design, restraint, and an ocean deep enough that you genuinely don't know what else is down there. It's not a cheap, stupid jump scare. It's real dread, sustained architectural dread, built by a team that knew exactly what they were doing. You don't know how the fuck to get off this planet, or even if it's possible to do so. You're literally the only survivor of a huge crashed ship. The story is told in audio logs you find on corpses, on crashed ships, and abandoned bases. You're piecing together what happened to your ship and what happened to this planet, and in the same way, you're piecing together how to survive it. And when you finally understand the full picture, when the precursor lore clicks into place, it doesn't feel like a cutscene ending. It feels like you figured something out, because you most definitely did. And what did you find out? Let's break it down. About 1,000 years before the present events, you find out An ancient advanced alien species nicknamed the Architects brought the Kara bacterium to planet 4546b and set up a research station to study it. It was a sickness wreaking havoc within their civilization. Only problem is that a sea dragon leviathan attacked the disease research facility, causing a contaminant breach that released Kara into the planet's oceans. This led to a planetary quarantine, which led to the ground-to-orbit cannons that shot down your ship, and most architects either died or uploaded their consciousness. More on that later. And then the game does something brilliant. You, the player, the lone survivor, get infected with the Kara bacterium yourself. It doesn't happen in a cutscene, it happens naturally the moment you start swimming in that infected ocean after the aura crashes. You don't even realize it at first, but later, when you finally reach the massive quarantine enforcement platform, the alien system scans you and shuts you out. You are infected with the Kara bacterium, access denied. Then, when it hits you, you're not just trapped on this planet, you're becoming a part of the infection. So how do you cure it? You go deeper than you've ever gone before, all the way down into the lava lakes, deep, deep, deep within the ocean. There you find the last living sea emperor Leviathan, an ancient, intelligent creature held captive by the Architects. She telepathically speaks to you, she tells you what you need to do, so you craft the hatching enzymes and set her children free. When those babies hatch, they release massive glowing clouds of Enzyme 42, the only known cure for Kara in the entire galaxy. With the cure now flowing through your veins, you return to the quarantine enforcement platform. This time, the system lets you in. You shut it down. The orbital cannon powers off. The planet is no longer locked. And the final piece? Towards the beginning of the game, if you're brave enough, when you're still really weak, scared, and barely surviving, you limp into the burning wreckage of the aura. Typically, you reach the captain's quarters and you downloaded the complete blueprints of the Neptune escape rocket, and usually you've been carrying those plans with you the entire time. Now this is where the game becomes legendary. Now that you're cured and the quarantine is lifted, you build the massive rocket on the surface of 4546b. You climb in, engines roar, and you blast off the planet that tried to kill you in every way possible. That is a masterpiece. The premise is honestly so simple. Crash land on an alien ocean planet and try to survive and find your way off of it. You don't even know if it's possible in the beginning of the game to escape the planet when you first start. You have no idea what is going to happen. And by the time you've built that rocket, it is one of the most satisfying moments I've ever had in gaming. Especially when you play on hardcore. Imagine going through all of that and you can't die at all, not even once, or the whole game restarts. And in fact, I died twice. On my third playthrough is when I finally won. Having to restart tens of hours of progress, it is one of those games where I would still pay large sums of money to have my memory erased and experience it all over again. 100%. Again, absolute cinema of a game. A masterpiece, not by accident, by design. So let me tell you what Below Zero is, because Below Zero was also built by Unknown Worlds, the same people, the same engine, the same ocean, and it's just not the same. Below Zero was not supposed to be a full game. Let me say that again. It was not supposed to be a full game. It started as DLC. A smaller story, a contained set experience in a different region of 4546b, and somewhere in that development process, it became a $30 standalone release with a full marketing campaign and a full price expectations. Not because a corporation made them do it, Krafton wasn't even in the picture yet. Unknown Worlds made that call themselves. Which is honestly worse because it means that the people who built the original Subnautica looked at what Below Zero was, a smaller contained side stories DLC, and decided that it could carry the same weight of a full sequel, and it couldn't, honestly. It's just a weird feeling because in so many ways they improved the very base formula, and yet the entire product sank to mediocrity. What was once a 9.5 out of 10 dropped to like a 6 out of 10. Mid. Let me give you my perspective. The first thing they took from you was the silence. The original Subnautica had a silent protagonist. You were just a survivor. No name, no backstory. For the most part, no opinions. They later added more. Just you, the ocean, and whatever you made of it. Below Zero gave you Robin. Robin talks. Robin has a personality. And it is not interesting at all. Oftentimes I found myself actively disliking her extremely cocky attitude. The original game trusted that the ocean would tell the story more. So, years after the first Subnautica, you play as Robin, who is a xenobiologist who refuses to accept that the corporate lie that her sister Sam had died in a workplace accident. Convinced that they're definitely covering something up, Robin smuggles herself to the frozen Sector 0, the Arctic region of planet 4546b. What she ends up finding is a ghost town. After Sam's death, Altera rushed an evacuation and abandoned the entire area. The once bustling research facilities, Delta Station, the snow-covered Phi Robotics Center, Omega Labs, and scattered outposts now sit empty and half buried in ice and snow. Unlike the original Subnautica, Below Zero gives you a far more explorable upper world. It's pretty cool. You can actually walk across huge snowy biomes, climb icebergs, and explore the frozen surface on foot, making the Arctic feel like a real breathable open world. I really enjoyed the verticality there. You're mostly alone in this cold, haunting world, except for a few rogue survivors like Margaret, but don't even get me started on this chick. She shouldn't even be alive. We're not even going to talk about it. So, in your exploration, Robin discovers the truth. Her sister was working on a cure for the last remaining pocket of Kara, trapped inside of a massive frozen leviathan. Robin finishes what Sam started, which is ultimately what the plot is, injects the antidote, and ends the bacterium's final threat on the planet. Here's the twist. While exploring underwater, Robin stumbles into an ancient architect sanctuary where she finds a desperate, fading consciousness named Alan that was an architect, one of the precursors. With his storage system about to shut down forever, she offered to download him into her PDA. Instead, what Alan does is he forcibly transfers himself straight into her brain, turning her mind into his temporary host, whether she likes it or not. Kind of like a Johnny Silverhand moment in Cyberpunk 2077. From that moment on, Robin is never truly alone. You, as the player character, are never truly alone. Together, they end up building him a new body, activating an ancient phase gate, and that's the ending of the game. That's how you leave the planet. You leave 4546b behind, stepping into the unknown together. They are returning to Alan's homeworld to see if anyone is still alive. It's an interesting sci-fi premise for sure. It's not outright dumb. So what's the problem here then? All of this sounds interesting. The problem is that a solid 35% of the planned content was cut or heavily reworked. They scraped an entire early storyline with a space station and planetary shield, a main antagonist. It was basically a full narrative rewrite. Several large areas were completely removed. The final game ended up with noticeably fewer biomes than the original Subnautica. In the original game, it just made you feel so small because the ocean was a hell of a lot bigger. Below Zero made you feel small because the map was significantly smaller. Multiple Leviathans, characters, dialogues, vehicles, tools, and progression systems were completely dropped. And every single character in the game was so annoying and unlikable. Just as in the first game, you are picking up audio logs from the faculty that were there before, and none of them feel like real people. It constantly breaks my immersion. The writing and the dialogue were terrible. They made your sister gay for some reason as you uncovered the sister's gay romance with another researcher. Why? How does that add to my immersion? In the first game, I'm hearing audio logs from people who have found themselves in a seriously fucked up situation, having crash landed on an alien planet about to meet their demise. In Below Zero, no joke, I'm listening to audio logs of people playing some weird type of Intruder Among Us type game. Also, the banter between Robin and Alan once he's inside your head makes no sense. He would chime in from time to time, playing the fish out of water role, asking really dumb questions like, what is music? The fuck you mean, what is music? Your species has the ability to bioengineer hybrid bodies that have their tissues, organs, and overall structure design synthesized from the DNA of 27 different alien species. But you don't know what music is? That is such dumb sci-fi writing. It doesn't make any sense. Stuff like that would happen all the time. I never found the relationship interesting. All of this leads me to tell you that my immersion was constantly shattered. Their attempts at interjecting a stronger narrative fell flat. It's not that it's a bad idea, It just fell flat in their execution. It failed to capture the same quality of immersion, tension, discovery, and dread. Robin's personality made it feel like, I'm a girl boss xenobiologist who can handle any adventure that comes her way. The first game's vibe was, oh fuck, oh shit, our long-range capital ship just got blasted out of the sky and I barely made it into a lifeboat in time. And now I'm stranded with an ocean in every direction. Completely different vibe. I think somewhere along the path, the developers just lost their vision and forgot what made the first game fantastic, honestly. So here we are, Subnautica 2 launches into early access in a couple days. The same studio, a new ocean, new creatures, new everything actually. Nothing from the first two games is coming back. A clean slate on a brand new ocean moon orbiting a desert exoplanet called Zazura. And before I tell you whether I think they can pull it off or not, let me tell you what they're actually trying to do this time, because the premise is the whole ballgame. The original Subnautica worked because of one specific psychological setup. One man, one ocean, seemingly no way out. You crashed alone. And then the entire planet became your problem to solve. Subnautica 2 is not that. And I want to be clear about what I mean by that. You are not a lone survivor this time. You are a pioneer, a refugee fleeing conflict on Earth, recruited by Altera onto a colony ship called the Cicada, which crashes on the moon during the journey. Other survivors are stranded with you, and the AI running the show insists that the colonization mission must continue. So this is no longer a lone survivor crash. This is a colonization disaster. Larger in scale, more people involved, and for the first time in this franchise, up to 4-player co-op. And that's a wish fulfillment dream come true, honestly. You could still play the game completely solo. Unknown Worlds has been explicit about that, but the premise itself has completely shifted. And that shift matters, because the isolation that made the first game terrifying is simply not the same. And I don't know whether they can build the same emotional depth of dread into a world that is fundamentally different. Here's why I am still cautiously optimistic anyways. Number 1, the alien ocean is still the alien ocean. The setting is the soul of this franchise, and they kept it, right? A foreign ocean planet full of forgotten ruins, full of mysteries, full of creatures you have not seen before. That premise is what made the first game one of the most interesting sci-fi experiences for me ever put into a video game. Below Zero kept the franchise going, but now Subnautica 2 is returning to the original premise, and that is very important. Number 2, no microtransactions. No battle passes, no season passes. It's just a one-time purchase, all future updates included. In 2026, in this industry, that is no small thing. That is Unknown Worlds drawing a line in the sand and saying, we are not that. Every other corpo-infected studio on Earth is finding new ways to nickel and dime you. And these people are out here saying, buy it once and that's it. Respect. Number 3, they're adding a ton of new stuff. DNA modifications, biomods, you can splice up creature genetics into your own body to gain new abilities, dynamic ocean currents that can sweep you and your vehicles into new areas. That's a cool design. There's a lot more that they're going to be adding to really push for that sequel feeling instead of what we got with Below Zero. Now, about the Krafton situation, quickly, because I did tell you I would touch upon it. In 2025, Krafton fired the studio's leadership mid-development on this exact game. The original CEO and founders, the people who built the franchise, Unknown Worlds, sued, a judge ruled in their favor, and in early 2026 ordered that the CEOs be reinstated. The original creative team is largely back in control of this game, and this is why there was a delay from 2025 to 2026. And that is why I'm willing to be cautiously optimistic instead of fully cynical. So here is where I land. I'm not buying this game. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm mostly against buying at early access because I want my experience to be a finished game. I want to play a complete version that the team intended, not a 2 to 3 year drip feed of different biomes and creatures and abilities and story chapters. But I want this game to succeed. I want it to succeed really badly. I want Unknown Worlds to remember what they built the first time. I want them to take the technical upgrades that Below Zero proved that they could ship and pour them into a container that actually carries that dread, that discovery, the aloneness in the deep that made the first game one of the greatest things that this medium has ever produced. The container is everything. Below Zero proved that you can have great parts in a broken container. Subnautica 2 has to be the opposite. Better parts, better container, both, or neither matters. Co-op is a dream come true for me, and in a couple days, we find out if they remembered what Subnautica is all about. The Corpo machine tried to take the studio out, the studio fought back and won, and the premise is intact. The principles are visible in the spec sheet. The team is largely the team. The pieces are all there. Whether they can pull them together, that's the only question that matters, and it's the only question I'm watching for when 1.0 hits. A new golden age of gaming doesn't start because we want it to. It starts when the people who know how to build it are finally allowed to, and they actually do it. Unknown Worlds was almost not allowed to, and now they are. Let's see what they do with it. Talk to you later.